What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex. You watching a Ragin Ronin review. I got a review for you. Last night I saw Need for Speed, and Need for Speed is of course based off of the successful video game franchise of the same name. And the video game franchise has a lot of titles in it. And if I had to pick which title that this movie is based off of, I'd have to say Need for Speed Most Wanted. Now it's mainly because our protagonist, played by Aaron Paul, is on the run. He's a fugitive. And this leads us to seeing some pretty cool chase sequences, including some cop car chase sequences. So pretty cool that they included that aspect of the video game franchise. But anyways, let's just talk about the story. The story is about as essential as it gets. Because this movie is about car stunts, car chases, car races, amazing car chase cinematography, and of course, awesome car stunts. And they just needed to wrap a plot around this. And no matter how complex or thin or simple, they just needed to wrap a plot around this car chase, this giant car chase of a movie. And what they did was they did just that. This movie is the story of revenge, redemption, and Aaron Paul trying to clear his name because he was accused of, or rather he was he's the #1 suspect for a car crash that took place during a race. And this car crash was of course caused by the bad guy, the antagonist, played by Dominic Cooper. So it's a story of revenge, but it essentially involves a lot of really cool and amazing car chases. Now, the actors are Aaron Paul, who plays our protagonist, Toby Marshall. The antagonist is Dominic Cooper, who plays Dino Brewster, and you have a bunch of supporting actors such as Ramon Rodriguez and a couple of his other buddies who I don't know their names. But you know what? This movie isn't about the stars. I don't really care a whole lot about the actors who are in it. They give us just enough for the audience to really care about their cause. I guess the only actor, or rather the only character that I liked a lot in this movie is the guy who's the pilot. Okay, he's the guy that I found who's the most likable, because I found that he has the most unique role in the movie. I also found that every time we see him appear, his aerial vehicle or his air support just gets crazier and crazier and crazier and way more and more over the top. He provides the comic relief, and I find him to be very likable. Aaron Paul, on the other hand, I find that coming from TV and then going into movie, I think that maybe he's not quite ready for that, because I find that it's not so much his acting, but it's his delivery of his lines. I find them just very emotionless, and it's mainly because of his voice. He's got this thing going on where he's like, "I gotta find a car. Oh yeah, I don't think you should. What are you doing here? What do you want, man? Get on my face." He's like that the whole time. So I found that a little bit distracting. And Dominic Cooper, he just plays an evil guy. He looks evil, and you want him to get what's coming for him. You want him to get what he should be deserving. So, you know what? I really don't have a whole lot of complaints about this cast, mainly because it's not about the cast. It's about the amazing car stunts, and this is exactly what I expected when I went in to watch this movie. Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie 23%, and their consensus was exactly what I predicted. High on action, thin on plot, acting, and character development. And that's exactly what I saw there. I really didn't care a whole lot about the characters, but I cared enough to want to root for them. Now, the interesting thing is that when I first saw Aaron Paul's character, I had a hard time connecting with him and his crew because I didn't really know what they're all about. They fix cars, they build cars, and a lot of them are very skilled in what they do. One of them's a pilot. It's a really just a misfit band of characters. So it took a pretty slow progression to to get me to really like these characters. But afterwards, when I saw what they're capable of and all the over-the-top things they do, and of course all the crazy car stunts and all the support that his buddies give them, you know, this is a pretty well-oiled machine. I'm starting to like this crew, all right? But you know what? Let's not talk so much about these, you know, the story and the characters. What we essentially want to come here, what we ultimately want to watch this movie for is the amazing car stunts, and we get exactly this, okay? And this movie is directed by the Bandito brothers. I'm not sure why they call themselves that, but it is Scott Waugh and Mike McCoy. And they directed Act of Valor. And Act of Valor is a movie where they employed Navy SEALs to act in their movie, okay? But the combat sequences, probably one of the best modern combat sequences I've ever seen on film. So they did a great job in the combat sequences because it was authentic, but the acting was terrible. The worst acting I've ever seen. And it's no different in Need for Speed. Now, I'm not saying that the acting was terrible. I'm saying that the directors decided to put a huge emphasis on the car chases, just like they put a huge emphasis on the combat action in Act of Valor. I didn't have a whole lot of problem with the acting, okay? It's mainly the fact that there's a huge emphasis on the car chases, and I don't have a problem with that because I came into this movie wanting to see cool stunts, and I got just that. Now, what the directors did in Need for Speed is probably some of the greatest car racing, car chasing, car stunt footage or cinematography ever captured in cinematic history. Okay, now we've seen a lot of car chases. You can name all the car chase movies you want in the comment section below, but I have to tell you, even though this movie is just about racing, drag racing, and just car stunts, okay, I'd have to say that I've never seen it captured in such a way. You really feel the speed, you really feel the crashes. Well, I don't think you feel the crashes like as good as a Michael Bay movie, but you do feel them, okay? But I'd have to say that the way they captured the movie, captured the car chase sequences, putting the camera up close using those GoPro cameras and putting the cameras in the point of view of the driver, that's pretty awesome what they did. And you know what's great about this? There's no CG in this movie. They decided that they wanted to do things all real, just like how they had Navy SEALs doing the combat in Act of Valor. They wanted to do things all real. Now, now this gives me a huge respect for this type of filmmaking. And another thing is that it makes me find that the car chase is a lot more believable compared to like, for example, maybe a Fast and Furious movie where there's a lot of special effects and visual effects involved, right? Even though Fast and Furious movies are really, really great, but or at least the Justin Lin directed ones, but what the Bandito brothers did in Need for Speed is something spectacular, and I'm telling you guys that if you want to watch a movie for great car chases, great cinematography of racing and car stunts, watch this movie because it kind of blew my expectations. And it, like, the very first race, and the way that I feel that another sequence where they had a Mustang weaving in and out of traffic, that was really cool. Like, you really got a feel for what these cars can do. And I have to say one thing, okay? The Mustang, the $2 million Mustang, that is a character in the film, okay? When I watched the Mustang for the first time, I'm like, this is cool, but let's see what it can do. And then it starts doing cooler and cooler things, and you see this journey, all right, with this Mustang. I feel like this is a character in the film, and I think that the directors wanted the Mustang to really feel like a character in the film. So you really feel for this character, okay? Excuse me. And that's all I gotta say in this movie. Oh yeah, look out for the Easter egg, the Act of Valor Easter egg, okay? There you have it. That's all I gotta say in this movie. I'm gonna give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. Now, this may seem quite low to some people, but it had spectacular action sequences, but for me to really give a movie a high score, I need to see a great story, great characters, great acting. But I felt thoroughly entertained, okay? I was very entertained by this movie, and I felt all the car chase sequences, anything involving cars, was really the reason why you watched this movie, okay? And there you have it. It's pure entertainment. It's a very entertaining movie. You gotta check it out if you love car stunts. Oh yeah, one thing I want to mention before I sign off is that I originally wanted to watch this film in 2D, but there were no 2D showings available, so I ended up watching it in 3D. Now, that was something that I originally did not want to do because I had read that the post-conversion was a very, I wouldn't say it's a rush process, but it was an afterthought. They originally did not intend to have this movie presented in 3D, but they decided to do that, and I was actually pretty impressed. The 3D was decent for a post-conversion that was done in a short period of time. I felt a lot of depth. In fact, a lot of the racing scenes did look pretty good. Now, it's not perfect. It's going to be a long way before they really perfect the format, but I still will say that it does look good, and it is a bit inconsistent at times, but when it does look good, it does look good. So you really feel the depth, you feel the like it's more three-dimensional, and I mean that in the truest form. It feels very three-dimensional. Now, I'm not saying that things pop out at you. I'm just saying that you can really feel that there's that background and foreground and midground. So pretty cool, and I gotta say that if you watch it in 2D or 3D, it doesn't matter. You're going to enjoy all those cool racing sequences just as much, all right? And that's it. As always, if you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, @RaginNation. My name is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Ragin Ronin review. I'll see you next time. Peace.
Sorry, I love you. Don't hate me.
What?